This is the Transformers Studio Series from the movie Transformers Age of Extinction. We have Deluxe Class, the concept art KSI Widow, something that didn't actually appear in the movie, but there was some unused concept art. They turned it into an action figure. And here is the KSI Widow. I thought it was a Widowmaker, but Widow out of the packaging. And you know what? I still haven't decided how I feel about this figure because concept-wise, I am loving it. It's a McLaren P1. How can you not love a sports car Decepticon? The details on this figure is really amazing. And I love the colors. But there are bits that are cheap. I know I'm such a stickler for cheap plastic, but there are bits that are cheap, but there are bits that are actually pretty premium. So he kind of reminds me of Studio Series Hot Rod. It feels like a very, very solid figure. I am shocked that they did not use this for the film. It would have been a pretty badass villain. Head to toe, the figure stands at about 12 3/4 centimeters tall, or about 5 inches tall. For comparisons, here she is with a couple of other deluxe class figures from Studio Series. We've got from the Devastation game, we've got Optimus Prime, and from Transformers 1, we've got B127, Chefatron, Bumblebee. And here she is with fellow Wavemate in the Studio Series. We've got from Transformers 1, Deluxe Class, Starscream. So she is a little squat, but she's still taller than Bumblebee. And here she is with the Studio Series from the Last Night Deluxe Class, Hot Rod. Or Hot Rod. Obviously, this one's a knockoff. This is the Vanguard by Jia Huang Toys. I no longer have my original Studio Series Hot Rod, but it's a nice peg, so you can see how well she stands. She is a little bit shorter, about 2 millimeters shorter than Hot Rod, but they fit well together on any shelf. So the figure doesn't come with a lot of accessories. She just comes with these gauntlets that are beautifully sculpted. I love the fact that they're not like handheld blasters, that they just clip onto the arms, but they're made of this really cheap, just cheap plastic, cheap gray plastic. The color is okay, but it just feels so cheap and light, and it's a shame because I do love the gimmick, and there is a way to store these. I just didn't read the instructions as well, but there's a peg right there that you can just plug onto her backpack or backpacks. Those flaps on her back, and they store nicely. They actually look like rocket boosters. You just jettison her. So very nice. The concept is really good. Even that head sculpt. The head sculpt, I believe, is the major selling point for this figure. Look at this. She kind of feels like she could have been Nightbird. I mean, had they made this into a gray McLaren, all gray and gunmetal gray black, this would have been a really cool Nightbird for Age of Extinction, but they called her Widow. That's okay too. And you can see the gloss and the finish that they put on the plastic, the orange plastic on this figure. I wish they could have done that with Starscream. So every inch of the figure just sculpted beautifully. She's got some spikes on her forearms, even the chest, even the proportions of the figure, the silhouette. Just an amazing design. And you can see right here, she really stands very nicely. She has that imposing sort of female Decepticon, sort of like a ninja bot look about her. And I'm loving this, man. Look at this. Articulation-wise, she's got a ball-jointed neck and no waist swivel. Again, just like Starscream, unfortunately. I think it's got to do with the transformation. They could not put a swivel there. That's fine. The shoulders have ball joints. Arms go in and out, forward, backward, 360. It's got a bicep swivel, hinge elbows, no wrist articulation. The hips are on ball joints. Allow you to do the splits if you move the kibble, away for a bit. And then it allows you to kick forward, backward. It's got a thigh swivel, hinge knees, and some toe articulation. Okay, so let's transform Widow into her McLaren P1 Alto. Now, transformation I thought was amazing on this one. Very well engineered, as I will show you. So first thing you want to do, you want to put the weapons off to the side. We will plug them in later in alt mode. Okay, you want to go ahead and open these panels up just to get them ready and all set. Okay, the feet or the legs. Okay, you want to transform them first. Fold up the toes or the feet up And then these knee pads or knee guards, you fold them up like that. Now the back panel, they remind me so much of the Transformers Prime RID Deluxe Class Vehicon. And I will show you why. Look at this. It unfolds, 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 and unfolds. Look at that. It harkens back to just an amazing engineering of that RID robots. In this guy was a classification of deluxe class Transformers Prime Vehicon as opposed to the first edition Vehicon. And my good buddy Christian had always told me that that Vehicon was one of the best figures out there. But there's only clear bits here, 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 and everything else is solid. So you want to go ahead and tab the legs together. I thought this was pretty nice. You know, if your first glance, you'll think, oh my God, it is a nightmare to just do this. But it's actually pretty easy. Just like that. They tab together. There's no scary moment that you feel like you're going to break the tabs and whatnot. Okay, now here's the difficult part. You need to plug in the weapons, and it takes some pushing and just, yeah. Oh, it is tight. It is so tight. It's not even the first time I'm doing it. It really is just a tight squeeze. It has to be all the way in, pushed all the way in. And don't worry about removing it. You just split the legs and then you can pluck those weapons out. But you got to push it all the way in. Okay. The thigh panels, you want to just pull them out all the way. All the way out so that you can rotate. And then they're going to slide right here. There is a little bit of a clearance issue. You'll need some finagling. You'll need to just sort of slightly bend that panel away and then just tab it in. But it tabs in amazingly well. It's so solid. That's what I like about the engineering of this transformation. Okay. And then you want to go ahead and fold the arms all the way down. Like this. This peg right here, peg it all the way there by just popping out that head and neck assembly. And you fold it all the way down and wait till it pegs in and clicks. You want to fold the shoulders down and then fold the chest assembly up. And look at this. There's a tab right there. Premium plastic all around, and it will tab in very solidly. Look at that. It is a solid transformation. I haven't even finished the transformation and it already is looking amazing. Last bit right here is, as you can tell, you want to fold everything. And again, there is a clearance issue right there. It's not going to fold in because look at that angle. Look at that corner right there. So you're going to need to just ever so slightly just bend the whole car, just contort it this way so that it gives enough space for those panels to slide in. Okay. And then just tab everything. Can you see how solid that is? And last bit, the rear end, just fold it down and that will complete the McLaren Alt Mode. And look how cool this thing is. It is so compact. I mean, everything just fills up the spaces, the gaps. I mean, some will say it's a little bit of a shell former because of the compressed roof and hood and whatnot. But I love it. I love it. You know, if you can get past those clearance issues, it is a very, very solid transformation. The alt mode rolls very, very nicely. I mean, come on, guys. It does not get any better than this. My one gripe, I would say, it's just a little too small. Maybe had they made it a little bit bigger, that would have been great. But look at this. Here is Select's Legacy Hound. Yeah, with some imagination, the McLaren isn't a super big car, not like a Porsche. So, I mean, a Army Jeep would probably be bigger, but still, the scale is a little small. But that's how it is with Studio Series. The Bayverse figures, they're really normally just on the small-ish scale. So, yeah, look at that. Okay, so very, very cool. I love the color. I love that orange, that pearlescent, glossy plastic. It feels so premium, okay? Like I said, the only cheap bits are the weapons and some gray parts, but everything's great. The wheels are on rivets, I believe. Look at that, rivets. So Hasbro really stepping up with the premiumness of their Transformers, going back to riveted wheels, and look how smooth that is. One thing I will note is the transformation kind of, backs you up and you sort of like paint yourself in a corner, because it tabs in, it compresses so well that if you're going, once you decide to transform it back into robot mode, there's really no place to grip. You break your fingernails just trying to get the panels out. So one thing I will suggest is any tool will work. Just make sure you get the blunt end of that tip so you don't break the plastic, and you try to squeeze. If it will fit in between the wheels and that midsection, you can try and poke the hood up. Just, be careful. That is the only way I found to transforming back into this robot mode, because everything's so tight. So, if you have any other suggestions or tips on how to do that, let me know in the comments. And once again, with the Studio Series, last night, Hot Rod, and here they are both in their alt mode. And I think, I don't own any of these vehicles. I don't think I'll ever own them in this lifetime, but I think the scale could be correct, because this Lamborghini is a little bit longer than usual, and the McLaren is about, I think it's just a little bit smaller in scale, but, with a little bit of imagination, I think they will fit nicely in scale on the shelf if you display them. By the way, this knockoff was just incredibly difficult to transform. I was afraid I was going to break pieces here and there. It was like pulling a tooth, transforming this knockoff. Just get the original. If you still have the original, don't let it go, man. This thing is selling for like $70 online, the original one. So yeah, it's good scale. I think it works. Yeah, they look great together. And so some final thoughts on this KSI Widow. I really enjoyed this figure. I thought the engineering, the design was near perfect. Of course, there are a few nitpicks that I always have with the cheapo weapons, lack of a waist articulation, the very, very tight clearances, but overall, a very, very solid Studio Series figure. And I am shocked that Hasbro is still capable of doing really amazing, premium feeling, well-engineered Studio Series Bayverse characters, Transformers figures to this day. I am shocked that this thing is an amazing figure. So the alt mode is a perfect 10 out of 10. I love it. The engineering could use some work. It's a 9 out of 10. The robot mode, the articulation is a little bit hindered because of the lack of waist swivel, and the kibble is a little too tight, and it just gets in the way a little bit, just by a little bit. But you can still get her in a lot of decent dynamic poses. So I'm gonna go with 9 out of 10 for robot mode. So overall, I think this figure deserves a 9.5 out of 10. I really enjoy this. I wish we could get more of the same types of figures in the future. So yeah, it's a great figure. I am shocked they did not use this design in the movie. It would have been a great Nightbird or Widowmaker, I should say. KSI Widow seems kind of a boring, lame name, but it should have been Widowmaker or something like that. But it is a brilliant design, and I'm glad Hasbro followed through with an amazing execution of this Transformers figure. So let me know what you guys think of this Transformers Studio Series from the movie Age of Extinction, Deluxe Class KSI Widow. Hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any of my latest video reviews. And if it's your first time here, welcome, and please subscribe. Thanks for watching.